Welcome into Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. On today's show, we will look at 5 USFL targets to watch of possible players that will be available as the USFL wraps up its season tonight. Before we get to that, though, it is 4th of July weekend. Hope that you have a great one with you and your loved ones and your friends, whatever it may be. Got to know, what are your plans for the 4th of July? Tell me in the comments section. Maybe you're keeping it chill at home. Maybe you're getting out all the firecrackers. Whatever it is, one way or the other, let me know. I'm very curious and hope that you have a great Independence Day. So our first name that I want to look at is KaVontae Turpin, a wide receiver for the Generals. And let me preface all of this by saying that of the players that we're looking at, there's still a big gap between the NFL and the USFL, obviously. And so we're not looking at these guys as potential signings to be a number 1 or number 2 starter. You're looking at guys to contend for a final roster spot. So Turpin, he was at TCU, was a first-team All-Big 12 performer there. He's the MVP of the USFL this season, playing for the Generals. And he led the USFL in receiving yards with 540 yards total. Really good player there in the USFL. And the scouting report on him, according to the Sporting News, says Turpin is a true playmaker and maybe the best offensive weapon the Generals have. The 25-year-old led the USFL in receiving yards with 540 and was used in a variety of ways by New Jersey. Turpin was named the USFL MVP, and an all-USFL return man, is a weapon with the ball in his hands and has potential as a gadget weapon and return man in the NFL. So you can see, based on that quote there, that this is somebody that could be used in 2 ways, not only just as a receiver, but potential return man as well, Turpin is. So a lot to be excited about with Turpin there. Another name to keep in mind is Maurice Alexander of the Philadelphia Stars. We will tell you about him in just a moment, but before we do, I got to know, do you guys even like spring football? I got to tell you, I hope that spring football is successful. I loved when the XFL came back, but was interrupted by COVID. Now the XFL is going to come back next year. The USFL, despite many doubters, made it through its entire season this year. The product wasn't bad. I enjoyed it personally. I hope that we have a successful spring football league. I don't know if 2 leagues can be successful in the future, but if just one of them can be successful, I'm all in. I would love to see it continue and be a minor league of sorts for the NFL. What about you guys? Do you like spring football? Did you enjoy the USFL this year? Let me know. This is our pinned comment today. Type Y for yes. Type in for no if you like spring football. You're about to get an ad break. Take advantage of it while the ad's playing. Let me know one way or the other, Y or N, if you like spring football. So Maurice Alexander, let's tell you more about him. Plays for the Philadelphia Stars, made the all-USFL team, and is a wide receiver as well as a kick and punt return specialist. Comes from a great family of football players as well. His cousins Sean and Nate Terry, they played football at West Virginia. Meanwhile, his cousin James played at Kansas State. The scouting report on him, according to Sporting News, Alexander averaged a league-high 31.5 yards per kick return and 12.6 yards per punt return. He has great vision and the quick cut ability needed to find open lanes. He will probably be given a chance to prove himself at the NFL level and may see the former Florida International quarterback as a gadget-type player on offense too. So some high praise there for Maurice Alexander. Another name that we will get to is DeMarquis Gates, a linebacker from the Birmingham Stallions. I'll tell you about him in just a second, but before we do, got a great deal that I'm offering just for my viewers of Seahawks Today, a T-shirt combo. 2 shirts you can see there in blue and in gray, both options. And because you watch today's show, we're going to give you the opportunity to get this T-shirt combo for 20% off while supplies last. So get yours now at chatsports.com/Seahawks shirts. Get yours while supplies last. I got to tell you, it's pretty hot outside. You need to be wearing some T-shirts, folks. And you got to be wearing Seahawks gear, of course. As we get closer and closer to kickoff, need to be wearing that Seahawks gear so you're looking stylish throughout the offseason. Get yours now, chatsports.com/Seahawks shirts, $20 off. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks shirts. All right, more on Gates, the linebacker for the USFL Stallions out of Birmingham. And Birmingham hosted all the games except the playoffs, which are in Canton, Ohio. And he led the USFL in tackles for loss, had 11 total, 62 tackles. They only played an 8-game regular season, so you can see he was very active, and he has some NFL experience of some sorts. He was an offseason and practice squad member for the Cleveland Browns as well as the Washington football team and the Minnesota Vikings. Here's more on Gates, according to Sporting News. Gates can play a variety of roles within a linebacking core and has solid size at 6'2", 221 pounds. His playmaking ability will get him a look this offseason. So there you go. Some kind words there about Gates and his potential in the National Football League. Got two more names that I want to get to. The next one is the only quarterback worth mentioning in this league, and that is Case Cookus. And Case, I got to tell you, this was one that was way out of left field. He was a 12th round selection in this year's USFL draft. Initially was the backup, won the job, and now he's playing for the USFL Championship. Quite the turnaround for Case Cookus. And he has some NFL experience too, offseason and practice squad member for the New York Football Giants, the Denver Broncos, Minnesota Vikings, and the Las Vegas Raiders. And what we've seen from him is that in this system, he's been able to excel, play at a high level. The common complaint that we've heard about quarterbacks in the USFL and in other spring leagues is just the drop-off in quarterback play. But Case Cookus has not been that at all. He set the USFL record for most combined passing and rushing touchdowns in a single game at 5 apiece. He's been really solid. We'll tell you more about Cookus in just a moment. But before we do, I want to make sure that you are subscribed to the Seahawks Today channel. We're bringing you Seahawks coverage each and every day. Even on a holiday weekend, we're here talking Seahawks. So subscribe now if you have not already, so you never miss a moment as we catch you down to training camp and all the way to kickoff. You can subscribe at youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Turn the notifications on, and you will be the first to know exactly what's going on with the Seahawks as we cover this team like no one else will. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. That's youtube.com/Seahawks TV to subscribe today. All right, the scouting report on Cookus. Here is what Sporting News had to say. Cookus wasn't the starter for the Stars at the beginning of the season, but once he took over, he showcased a solid arm and excellent accuracy. Cookus completed 62.5% of his passes for 1,334 yards, 12 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions. He hit a stride late in the season and demonstrated better than expected mobility. Cookus has the potential to become an accurate, quality backup at the NFL level. And, you know, the Seahawks, they're in a quarterback competition. Nobody would be expecting Cookus to come in and compete for that starting job. But if you could get him in there, maybe he's a practice squad guy, whatever it may be, and learn the NFL system and how things go, the fact that he's shown that accuracy, those are all signs that point to a solid backup potential in this league. Exactly what you want. You don't want a backup that's going to do too much. You just want a backup that's not going to make mistakes and be accurate. Cookus potentially could be that guy. Who's a player the Seahawks should sign from the USFL? Is there a name that comes to mind? Let me know in the comments section below if there's somebody you're interested in from this league that you think the Seahawks should take a look at. Our final name on the list is cornerback Channing Stribling from the Philadelphia Stars, who are also playing in the USFL Championship Game tonight. He led the league in interceptions, 7 total, was a practice squad and off-season member for the Cleveland Browns, the Indianapolis Colts, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Los Angeles Chargers. Also spent 3 seasons in the CFL. So, as we mentioned, an 8-game regular season, 7 interceptions in that stretch, nearly an interception in every game. And not to mention, he's got size. Listen to this. Stribling has good instincts and great size at 6'2", 180, and has been with 4 different NFL teams since going undrafted in 2017. Perhaps he will be able to stick around if his all-USFL level performance has sharpened his ball skills as much as the numbers indicate. So there you have it. Our 5 names that we have for you to look at from the USFL, potentially for the Seahawks, include KaVontae Turpin, wide receiver from the Generals, Maurice Alexander, wide receiver and kick returner from the Stars, DeMarquis Gates, linebacker from the Stallions, quarterback Case Cookus from the Stars, and Channing Stirbling from the Stars as well, a cornerback. If you made it to the end of today's video, we appreciate you. Thanks for being a part of what we're doing each and every day on Seahawks Today. Type 12 if you're a real one and made it to the end of today's show, and we'll see you next time.